Accompanied by a wall of angry water, Junpei shot out of the room and into the opposing wall. Gasping to catch his breath, he looked around. He was in a narrow hallway. The water that had followed him out of the room was rapidly pouring out of the door. It flowed quickly down the hallway and slammed into the foot of the short flight of stairs. Just 5 steps, in fact. And at the top of this short staircase... a door! Another door! Junpei leapt up the stairs, straight for the door. The door burst open and Junpei exploded out of it, only to freeze in his tracks. What other possible response could there have been to what he saw? What the hell? His voice trailed off, and all he could do was stare. Das ist Resident Evil. A polished floor stretched out before him, ornate staircases rising up from the edges, each one of them equidistant from the others. Ich habe keine Ahnung, was dieses Wort heißt. The stairs and pillars were solid wood, and Art Nouveau embellishments and decorations covered the walls and pillars. It looked like nothing so much as the entrance to a luxurious mansion from the early 1900s. Junpei couldn't help but wonder, was he really in a ship? The water quickly filling the hallway behind him suggested that yes, he was. As he looked, a fresh wave rolled out of the room he'd been in, gathering speed as it moved towards the stairs. Yeah, that's what I thought. This is totally a Wait, what the hell? A wave? Uh-oh. Shit, I gotta get out of here. Junpei spun around, his wet shoes squeaking in protest on the polished floor, and ran towards the tremendous staircase in front of him. C deck. B deck. As he ran, he glanced quickly at the plates mounted on the wall, denoting the decks of the ship. He took the stairs 2 at a time, not entirely sure where he would find himself, just as he began to wonder where, in fact, the stairs did lead. Junpei saw another person out of the corner of his eye. He stopped short, nearly tripping over the next stair, and looked. It wasn't just one person he'd seen. On the landing to the left of the stairs, there were 4 people staring at him. And on the right side, 3 more. All told, there were 7 of them. It looked as though they had been on their way down the stairs. They'd stopped short when they saw Junpei, their eyes wide. He'd done the same, of course, and now they stood there staring at one another. Junpei didn't move, one foot placed awkwardly on the next step, in the middle of his stride. Who were these people? The entire interaction lasted only a matter of seconds. The woman spoke to Junpei, and time began to move again. I guess there's another one of us now. The woman was dressed, Junpei thought, rather like a dancer. Her clothes covered very little, and her prodigious jewelry little more. Hey, you, come on! Hurry! With no further ceremony, she ran straight past Junpei and towards the doors behind him. The sudden proximity of a woman with such striking assets left Junpei momentarily stunned. Get your mind out of the gutter, you... Ach. Bruder, du stirbst fast. I mean, ist eine wunderschöne Frau, gar keine Frage, ne? Aber come on. But the others wasted no time and quickly followed the strange woman. The first to pass Junpei was a young man with silver hair. He threw a quick glance at Junpei's direction as he ran, muttering, "One of us, huh?" Following him was an older man, his face calm and without fear. Soft wrinkles sprouted from his eyes, and he came close enough when he passed for Junpei to see wisps of grey in his hair. His composure and shock of hair struck Junpei as rather like that of an elderly lion. Going up won't do you any good. There were 2 doors, but neither of them will open. Then next to speak was a girl with pink hair and a high voice. Come on! Aren't you coming? You gotta hurry! Her small hand was wrapped around the wrist of another man. His eyes were closed, almost as though he was sleeping. His features were graceful, almost serene, and he was dressed rather elegantly for someone his age. Something about his posture seemed very refined, and Junpei couldn't help feeling he was noble and dignified somehow. He'd certainly never seen one, but this man seemed like what Junpei had always imagined a prince would look like. Also wir haben den Dancer, wir haben den... Ich weiß gar nicht, welche Bezeichnung er dem Typen gegeben hat. Das ist Pink Hair, der andere war der Lion, er ist der Prince. That's 9 of us then. All of the cards are in hand. What does all of the cards are in hand mean, he wondered. Junpei opened his mouth to ask what the other man had meant, but the girl with pink hair rushed past him and they were gone. He turned just in time to see 2 more people running towards him. One of them had hair like a bird's nest and looked as though a stiff breeze might topple him, and the other was a veritable mountain of a man. The scrawny one said nothing and scuttled past Junpei as though he were running for something. Hey, what the hell are you just standing there for? Didn't you hear him? The doors on deck A are no good. We gotta check the doors on deck B. Got it? Now go! Before he had a chance to respond, the man laid a massive hand on Junpei's shoulder. With no more effort than Junpei would have used to brush aside a fly, the man shoved him out of the way. Whoa! Thrown off balance by the man and recent events, it took Junpei a few steps to get his bearings. He finally regained his balance and looked up at what the other 7 had been running towards. There were 2 pairs of large iron doors set into the wall in front of him. They looked quite sturdy and each had handles jutting from them. Written across the surface of each door in red paint was a number. The door on the right had a 4. And the door on the left had a 5. They were the same. Ah, das ist er. Er ist Silver. The guy Junpei had decided to call Silver was mumbling to himself. The room I woke up in had a number on the door just like that. You too, eh? With an arched eyebrow, the lion looked over at Silver. My Silver was the same. A number upon the door. I opened it, ran down the hallway outside, and found myself in a rather grand room. Full of stairs, as I suspected the rest of you. It was as though the floodgates had been opened. They all began to talk at once. Me too. I did too. He had a door with a number on it. It soon became clear that each one of them had awoken in a room with a locked door and solved a puzzle to escape. They'd all ended up in the same room, almost as though they had been guided here. Yes, we all saw the same thing. It's not important. We need to hurry. You think I don't know that lady? Before the dancer had time to finish, Silver was already running. Sandy's so fucking rude. He grabbed onto a hold on of the door labeled 5 and pulled. However... Fuck, it's not opening. The damn thing won't even budge. Move. You're in the way. The mountain grabbed Silver's shoulder and tossed him aside. His path cleared, he took a few steps back, then threw himself at the door. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. The door shook as his body slammed into it, but showed no sign of breaking or opening. The mountain threw himself at the door again. Junpei turned towards door 4. Next to the door on the wall was a small box. It looked just like the one he'd seen in his room next to that door. If it was the same, then this door was likely locked as well. Still, he had to check. Junpei grabbed the handle and threw all of his weight onto it. Gah. It was locked as tight as the door next to it, as he suspected. Damn it! Junpei punched the door. It did not respond. Were these the only doors, he wondered? He'd barely finished the thought when the sea deck plate he'd passed on his way up sprang, unbidden to his mind. His body moved before he had time to think. Junpei turned and ran back towards the stairs. He had scarcely taken a step when, at the top of the stairs next to an ornate clock embedded in the wall, he saw a person. It was a girl. She looked to be the same age as Junpei. He froze, unable to look away from her face. He wasn't confounded by her beauty or something equally silly. No, there was another reason he couldn't take his eyes off the girl. Junpei had seen her somewhere before. He couldn't quite remember where, but he knew. He knew he'd met her before. The girl, too, stared at Junpei, similarly stunned. Her response suggested she'd seen him before as well. Without saying a word, Junpei walked slowly toward her. She didn't move. It was almost as though she was held in place by some sort of magic spell. As Junpei stepped onto her landing, the spell broke. No sooner had he set his foot down than the whole ship shook a second time. Ah! The quake caught the girl unprepared, and she fell. Moving on instinct, Junpei leapt to catch her. Or so he thought. Her face was far closer than it should have been, mere inches from his own. He was flat on his back, and she had landed squarely on top of him. The girl seemed as confused as he did, and her face suggested she still hadn't fully recovered from seeing him. For a moment that seemed to stretch for a very long time, they stared at one another. The ship stopped shaking. Everything was quiet. Water could be heard from the bottom of the ship, lapping faintly at walls and ceilings, but eventually that faded as well. The silence was complete, a thick, muffling blanket. At last, the girl opened her mouth. "Oh my gosh, is that you, Junpei?" Junpei. Junpei. Her words echoed through Junpei's head, and suddenly his memory returned. Akane? Why hadn't he realized it before? The girl was Akane Kudashiki. She and Junpei had been friends in childhood. They'd gone to elementary school together for 6 years. But what was she doing on the ship? Her soft eyes were only inches away from his own. He could feel the warmth of her face. Feelings he'd thought long forgotten began to work their way onto the surface. He could feel his face heating up. At that moment, a speaker crackled to life, and a cold, eerie voice filled the room.
Welcome aboard. I welcome you all from the bottom of my heart to this, my vessel.
With the voice's invasion, the spell between Junpei and Akane was broken, and all hints of burgeoning romance instantly forgotten. Verdammt nochmal, vielleicht nächstes Mal. They hurriedly untangled themselves from one another and struggled to their feet. Their 7 companions had heard the voice as well, and many of their faces had gone pale. They looked around frantically, desperate to locate the source of the voice. At last, they found it. A speaker sat in the ceiling. Oh, das ist Zero. Entschuldigung, ich muss die Stimme adjustieren.
I am Zero, the captain of this ship. I am also the person who invited you here.
The voice was rash, obscured occasionally by the crackle of static. But Junpei recognized it. How could he have forgotten it? It was the same voice he had heard from the man in the gas mask. Hey, asshole! What the hell is this? Come on out here. I wanna get a look at you. What do you mean to do to us?
I mean to have you participate in a game. Some of you, I know, are familiar with this game. The Nonary game.
Warte mal eben. Ich schneide das später raus. Okay, ich hatte gerade ein bisschen Angst, dass ich mitten in einer Serie reingeschaltet habe. Aber mein intensiver 2 Sekunden Research hat ergeben, dass das erste Installment ist. Also keine Panik auf der Titanic, auch wenn sie gerade untergeht.
The Nonary game. It is a game where you will put your life on the line.
Nonary game. What the hell's that? The voice continued, implacable. Implacable, implacable.
The rules of the Nonary game can be found upon your persons. There are simple rules. Read them.
Nonary game. Hey, there's something in my pocket. Check this out. Silver reached into his pocket and pulled out a small slip of paper. The rest of them reached into their own pockets and pulled out similar slips of paper. Junpei followed suit and dug into the pocket of his pants. He felt a telltale crumple of paper, slightly damp from his earlier ordeal, weil er sich eingepinkelt hat. Hey, I got one too. Then it would seem Zero has seen fit to grace us with such a letter. Would you mind terribly reading it to us, young man? His request had been delivered to Junpei, who, after a short amount of surprise, did as he'd been asked. On this ship you will find a handful of doors emblazoned with numbers. We will call them the numbered doors. Macht Sinn. The doors in front of you are a pair of the same. The key to opening these numbered doors are the numbered bracelets that each of you possess. Should you total the numbers on your numbered bracelets and find that the digital root of that number is equal to the number of that door, the door will open. Only those who have opened the door may pass through. There are, however, limits. Only 3 to 5 people can pass through one numbered door. All those who enter must leave, and all who enter must contribute. Bracelet. Junpei figured it had to mean the bulky thing on his wrist. He glanced around it. It looked like everyone else had one as well, and had come to much the same conclusion. The purpose of the game is simple. Leave this ship alive. It is hidden, but an exit can be found. Seek a way out. Seek a door that carries a 9. Junpei had reached the end of the letter. There was a long moment of silence, and then the speaker crackled to life once more.
There is one last thing I must tell you. As you have no doubt surmised, this ship has begun to sink. On April 14th, 1912, the famous ocean liner Titanic crashed into an iceberg.
Bro, ich hab den Witz einfach nur gerade so gemacht. Ich wusste nicht, dass es eine Referenz dazu ist.
After remaining afloat for 2 hours and 40 minutes, it sank beneath the waters of the North Atlantic. I will give you more time. 9 hours. That is the time you will be given to make your escape.
The voice finished, and the speaker went silent. The sound of a bell tolling echoed through the hall. It came from the dance hall adjacent to the stairwell. It took those assembled on the stairs mere moments to trace the sound to an antique clock embedded in the wall. 7, 8, 9. The sound of the 9th bell faded away. The 10th never came. That meant the time was 9 o'clock. Most likely 9 o'clock in the evening. When Junpei had peered out the window of his cell, he'd seen nothing but blackness. It had to be nighttime. If that was the case, then they would need to escape by 6 a.m. the following day.
Now, it is time. Let our game begin. I wish you all the best of luck.
The speaker went silent and did not speak again. Silver yelled at the speaker with language coarse enough to embarrass a sailor, but the rest of Junpei's companions were silent, deep in thought. Junpei too was consumed by his thoughts. There was a great deal he didn't understand. Who was Zero? What was the Nonary game? Why had he chosen to make them part of it? Was he a criminal who took delight in playing with his victims? Or did he have some other purpose? And why had Junpei been chosen as part of this insane game? Why had any of them been chosen? But one question was foremost on his mind. Akane. They hadn't seen one another since elementary school. Why had she appeared now? Coincidence? Nein, aber mein Mikrofon hat sich verabschiedet. So vielleicht. Coincidence? No, that seemed impossible. There had to be a reason. He didn't know what it might be, but there had to be a reason. Very well. The lion's voice seemed oddly loud in the silence. Standing around here won't do us any good. Best we get moving, don't you think? Get moving? Are you planning to open the numbered doors? Hey, wait! Don't tell me you're actually going to do what this Zero says. No, that's not what I mean. The lion shook his head, mildly annoyed. I'm saying, let's find another way. After all, we haven't really examined this place yet. What? Their separate investigations finished, all 9 people returned to where they'd left one another. The result of the work was nothing. They were completely sealed in. Their hard work had not gone completely to waste, however. They had learned a number of things as they scoured the parts of the ship they could reach. It seemed that they were confined to decks A through C. C deck was as far down as they would be able to go, however. The reason being that the D deck was completely submerged. Strangely, however, the water had risen no higher than D deck. The flow seemed to have been stopped somehow, as evidenced by the surface of the water on D deck, which was as smooth as glass. The prince knelt down and gently drew his hand across it. Perhaps the Zero fellow has used some sort of remote control to seal the watertight door lower down. He said that our time limit was 9 hours. In other words, this water won't rise for 9 hours. Then you're saying we won't sink till then? Well, that may be a little too optimistic. No point to wishful thinking. There were 3 metal doors on C deck. A single door stood off to the side, with 2 more on the wall facing the central staircase. None of them had numbers or verification devices. They were, however, locked like the other doors. No matter how much they pushed and shoved, the doors refused to move. The mountain and the lion threw themselves against them a few times, but to no avail. The door in the back had a keyhole. Just above it was a strange mark in the shape of a circle surrounding the dot. There were 2 other doors on C deck as well, but it was clear they were elevators, as each had a button next to it with an upside-down triangle. Ich habe gerade eine Notification auf meinem Handy bekommen. Das ist einfach ein E-Roller-Unternehmen, das mich vermisst. Literally. Ich hasse Kapitalismus. They tried pushing the button. No response. Apparently, there was no power running to the elevators. To the left of the elevator doors was a card reader. The card reader also had a strange mark on it. Ist das nicht Jupiter? It looked like a lowercase h with a dash drawn across the upper stem of the h. Junpei stared at it for a while. Ah, Saturn. This is the symbol of Saturn. It's an astrological symbol. Then the mark on the other door. I think that was the sun symbol. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. They had seen the same symbols on A deck. There was a door on either side of the stairs. The one on the left had a keyhole with a similar symbol engraved on it. This is an earth symbol. The horizontal line symbolizes the equator and the vertical line represents the prime meridian. Junpei looked up at the ceiling. There was a great circle cut in it, perhaps for a skylight or a glass dome, but it had been filled with a gargantuan metal plate. The metal looked very solid. Anything short of an explosive charge was unlikely to damage it. There were several windows along both sides of the ship, or at least there had been. They too were covered with metal plates. In other words, wir sind hier verbindlich verriegelt. We're trapped. All the exits go nowhere. Junpei was not happy. The girl with pink hair spoke up. Well, I'm sure they go somewhere. We just can't open them. Then the mountain spoke. You don't know that. For all we know, they just open into walls or take us in circles. The prince did not agree. No, I'm sure they go somewhere. Otherwise, what point would there be? And we can open them. Well, 2 of them, at least. You mean the numbered doors? All eyes turned towards the doors with numbers on them. The atmosphere in the room grew tense. Hey, wait a minute. I think I said this earlier, but I don't think we should do that. The dancer moved in front of the doors, as if to block them. We'd have to be crazy to open these doors. If we do that, we're doing exactly what Zero wants us to do. Suddenly, everyone began to speak at once. I agree. I don't. That's a terrible idea. We should keep going. We should stay here. We don't have any other way to open any of these doors. We should just wait. Someone's bound to come find us. We don't have time for that. In 8.5 hours, the ship was going to sink. The clamor of voices made it next to impossible to determine who was saying what. Their arguments grew more and more intense until people were shouting and screaming at one another. Junpei had remained silent, but at last he could take it no more. Hey! Shut up! They fell silent and all eyes turned to Junpei. He felt each stare burning into him, but he refused to flinch. Before we try and decide where we're going to go, there's something else we ought to do. What's that? We need to exchange information. We don't know anything about each other. I want to know who you guys are. Who you are, where you're from, where you came from, why you ended up here. Don't pretend you're curious too. They were silent. Some of them looked the other way, or bit their lip, or crossed their arms and stared at the ceiling. But one of them spoke up. It was Akane, because of course it was. I agree. I think Junpei is right. Junpei? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about him. I just call him Junpei. His name is Junpei. She pointed towards Junpei. We're childhood friends. We went to the same elementary school. Wait, stop. Don't tell us stuff we didn't ask you about. Zero's probably watching us right now. What are you gonna do if he's listening in? Would that be bad? Hell yeah, it would. We don't know how much that bastard knows about us. Maybe he just picked a bunch of random people to kidnap. If that is the case, then it'd be dangerous for us to let him know too much. If Zero knows who we are, he could go after our families. Maybe he'd tell us he had them to get us to do stuff, you know? But we still need to know what our names are. It's going to be hard to talk to each other if we don't have names. Alright, then why don't we have codenames? To him, apparently, it seemed like the obvious solution. code names.
Yeah, we'll each pick something. Like, I'll be 7.
7? Why are you 7? It seemed a fair question. The mountain stuck out his left arm.
Cause his bracelet number says 7.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, that's a good idea. He smirked. Alright, I'm gonna be Santa. Any of you chumps know Japanese, no? Well, San means 3, so I'll be Santa. You know, like Santa Claus. Fits, don't you think?
Passt überhaupt nicht.
Then your bracelet number. Yeah, it's got a 3 on it. Good job, Grandpa. Just like the mountain had done, Silver thrust out his left hand. Sure enough, the face of his bracelet read 3. Very well then. I'll go next, shall I? My bracelet number is 1. Given that, I think Ace seems appropriate. Natürlich heißt der alte Mann Ace. I'll be Lotus then. As I'm sure you all know, it has 8 petals. Which means, of course, that my bracelet number is 8. I would appreciate it if you would call me Snake. I'm sure you're a snake, alright. My bracelet number is 2. Since Ace has chosen cards, then I chose dice. Snake eyes, clearly, which is particularly relevant given that I am blind. Oh, good to know. Blind? Really? He'd kept his eyes closed during the entire ordeal, which had suggested something strange, but to hear it said so casually, it was something of a surprise. Everyone seemed a little nervous at the prince's proclamation, but no one seemed to know how to react to it. Leute, ist blind, ist kein Monster oder sowas. Just chill out. There was one person, however, who didn't seem to be surprised in the least. The girl with pink hair. I want to be Clover. You know, like a 4-leaf clover. Good luck, right? Looking almost bored, she held out her left hand. The face of her bracelet showed the number 4. Du bist cursed. Du hast die Fluchnummer. Oh weh, Clover. They'd come around to Junpei. He held out his bracelet. Alright, my number's 5, so my code name is gonna be... Why have one? It's not like there's any point to it now. The dancer cut him off in mid-sentence. I mean, we all know your name already. You're Junpei. Oh. They all nodded. Akane stepped forward, nervously. Then you should all call me by my name too. Because, I mean, it doesn't seem
fair to Junpei.
You're thinking it's not cool for you to hide your name after you told us his? Akane fidgeted awkwardly. Junpei decided he had to do something. What's your bracelet number? It's 6. She hesitated for a moment, then held out her left hand. As she'd claimed, the bracelet's face showed a 6. Junpei looked at it for a moment and thought, alright then. Why don't we call you June? June? A June? Yeah, you know, it's the 6th month of the year. So you're June. Junpei. Akane kneaded her hands and looked up at Junpei, uncertain. He smiled back at her, reassuringly. Are you good with that? She thought about it for a few more minutes, then seemed to come to a decision and gave Junpei a small nod. Their names decided, Junpei ran over them quickly in his head. 1 was Ace. 2 was Snake. 3 was Santa. 4 was Clover. 5 was Junpei's number. Akane was 6 and Junpei had given her the code name of June. 7 was 7. Duh. And 8 was Lotus. That meant that 8 of them, including Junpei, had revealed their bracelet numbers. But there was still one person left. He was the man with glasses and hair like a bird's nest. He hadn't said anything since they'd met on the stairs, and he didn't look like the sort of person who was inclined to conversation. His skin was pale, his breathing was heavy, and he was soaked in nervous sweat. His behavior seemed very suspicious, or perhaps simply emotionally unstable. It was difficult to tell. However, whatever the case, it seemed clear that he had only a fingertip's worth of a grip on his sanity. We'll call this one Nap. Entschuldigung, ich bin ernst. The girl with pink hair, Clover, walked up to him, slowly. She put her hands on her hips and eyed him suspiciously. "What number are you?" He didn't answer. His bloodshot eyes twitched from person to person and his breath came in hot pants. "Hey, I'm talking to you." The man licked his dry lips with a shaking tongue and spoke with a voice like old paper. Isn't it obvious? There are 9 people here. And you know numbers 1 through 8 are... the only one left. So you're 9? Yeah. He extended a trembling arm. The bracelet did indeed say 9. Clover looked at it contemptuously. What's your code name? Code name? What do you want us to call you? We all made up names. You should too. I don't need one. Why not? Because I'm not going to stay here with you. He took a shuddering breath and exhaled. Clover looked at him with something very like disgust. You've got some sort of plan? I do. Yeah? What's that? You sure want to know? Yeah? Alright. Let me show you. I'm going to do this. By the time they realized what he was doing, it was too late to stop him. The man's body moved like a snake's. In a blink of an eye, he had slid around behind her and wrapped his arm around her waist. Warte mal. Es hieß Clover, das heißt, sie ist die Nummer 4, er ist die Nummer 9. 9 plus 4 sind 13, 1 plus 3 sind 4. Er versucht durch Nummer 4 zu entkommen. Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing? Silver, center, leapt forward toward Clover and the 9th man. He was halfway there when... Stay back! Suddenly the man's hand dove into his pocket. Wo hat das Messer her? It came back out with a knife. A pocket knife. He held it to Clover's pale, quivering neck. If you get any closer, I'll cut her open. Santa skidded to a halt. He snarled at the scrawny man with a knife and gritted his teeth. Yes, that's right. The man's smile was neither friendly nor reassuring. Sweat poured down his neck, soaking the collar of his shirt. Clover, are you alright? The prince, Snake's voice sounded oddly concerned. Yeah, I'm fine. Her voice shook, making her words even less convincing. What the hell are you trying to do? I told you, this is my plan. What are you gonna do to her, you sick son of a bitch? Don't worry, I'm not going to do anything to her. If she just does what I tell her to, I'll let her go. He started to move backwards, slowly, keeping his grip on Clover. Keeping their distance, Junpei and the others followed. Eventually, the man reached the wall. He gave a start as his back touched it, then glanced around quickly and spoke. Verify. Huh? The left. Look on your left. Do you see the device on the wall? Place your hand on the scanner panel, the round part. What if I don't? The man's nostrils flared and he looked like he was about to choke. Are you an idiot? What do you think?
I could slit your throat right now. I'll kill you if I have to. All I need is your bracelet. Just do it. Do it now.
He pressed the knife against Clover's neck, hard. Slowly, she stretched her left hand out towards the device. Her back was to it, and she had to feel around for a moment before she found the circular panel. It made a cold electronic noise, and on the display above her head, an asterisk appeared. So that's how it works, Junpei thought to himself. By placing one's palm on what the ninth man had called the scanner panel, the user's bracelet number would be entered into the device.
Put the total number on your numbered bracelet and find that the digital root of that number is equal to the number of the door. The door will open.
Junpei shifted his eyes to the door itself. The number on it was 5. The ninth man seemed to know a little more about the device's operation than he should. Aber das funktioniert nicht. How had he known exactly what to do?
Good, you're done. Next.
His bloodshot eyes crept from person to person until finally they stopped on the lion, Ace.
Wollte grad sagen, wie will durch Tür Nummer 5 mit nur 2 Leuten, aber okay, ja. You're right. You're the one with the number 1 bracelet, right?
Yes, I am. So?
Then you're next. Just verify your number like this little brat did. What are you doing? Do it. Don't you care what happens to her?
Okay. Just calm down. Ace held up his hands, palms out. The ninth man jerked his chin towards the device. Slowly, cautiously, Ace moved towards the device. After what seemed like an agonizing eternity, he reached it.
Now, verify.
Ace nodded and placed his hand on the scanner panel. The device beeped again, and a second asterisk appeared. Now the device had Clover and Ace's numbers, 4 and 1. 4 plus 1 equals 5. The same as the number written on the door, but it wouldn't open just yet.
Only 3 to 5 people can pass through one numbered door.
The door needed at least one more person. Who would that be?
Get back.
His voice shook, but the knife he held to Clover's throat made his words a command. Ace took 2, then 3 steps back.
No, farther. More than that. Go all the way back.
Slowly, Ace did what he was told. The ninth man's lips curled into a cruel, twisted smile. That was when Junpei understood his plan. Clover's 4 and Ace's 1, added to the ninth man 9. 4 plus 1 plus 9 equals 14, equals 1 plus 4 equals 5. In other words...
Thank God you were all so cooperative. Now I can get out of this nightmare.
He pressed his own hand against the scanner panel. A third asterisk appeared on the screen. He dropped his hand to the lever on the side of the device and pulled. The door opened with a heavy, metallic groan. He let go of Clover.
Wait!
Junpei leapt towards the ninth man, but he wasn't fast enough. The man shoved Clover and hopped through the door.
Okay, have a good one, guys. I'm going off ahead now. Well then, goodbye.
He raised his hand and waved, a twisted smirk on his face. Then he was gone. The door ground shut with a dull clang of metal on metal.
Clover, are you alright?
Snake ran to Clover's side as she lay on the floor. Woher weiß dass sie da liegt? Ist blind.
Yeah, I'm fine.
She climbed unsteadily to her feet, and once there leaned heavily on Snake's shoulder for support. Junpei ran to the door. The others followed him. Several pairs of hands grabbed hold of the handles and pulled. They grunted and strained, but...
Shit! It won't budge.
That was when Lotus, the dancer, spoke. Her voice was quiet.
Do you hear something?
Like what?
Like some sort of beeping.
Junpei pressed his ear against the cold metal of the door. The others did the same.
You're right, I can hear it too.
What is it? Then they heard something else. It was the ninth man.
Shit! Why isn't it stopping? God damn it! You lied.
Lied?
This wasn't supposed to happen. This is wrong. This is wrong.
His voice shook with fear. Safe on the outside, they stepped back from the door and looked at one another. What is happening in there?
Open the door, please. I'm begging you. Help me. Please get me out of here. Get me out of here.
Junpei grabbed hold of the device. He slammed his hand on the scanner panel. Nothing happened. Why didn't it register him? He looked at the display where the asterisk had shown up. It said, engaged.
Oh my god, there's no time left. Listen, I was lied to. He lied to me. He put me in here. It was him. He killed me. It was him.